Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to MRC after our short Easter break. We're back for round 7 of the Season 13 Championship, and we are here in Suzuka, Japan for MRC-X on Friday night, the fantastic Suzuka International Circuit, just in the southern half of the beautiful island of Japan. And as I said, round 7 of the championship. We're here tonight for a full qualifying session, so Q1, Q2 and Q3, and then a 50% race around this superb figure of 8 style track. We don't know what's going to happen in terms of weather. That could certainly get involved. It has done in the past at this track. But whether we have rain or not, it should be a fantastic qualifying and a fantastic race for you tonight. My name's Chatty Duck. I'll be taking you through the action tonight. And joining me tonight in commentary is Stefan, aka LRL, a fellow elite tier driver in MRC. So good evening, Stefan. How are you doing?
Good evening. Yeah, I'm doing very well. It's great to be back after the Easter break. It feels like it has been months since we raced, but yeah, MRC is back, and I'm looking forward to the race today. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you make of this track? What do you think is key to a quick lap time around here?
The flow is the key. So this is not a track where you can mess up corner and then say, well, okay, I lost some lap time there, I will regain it in other parts of the track. Especially in the first sector, you need to nail every single corner. If you, in the S section especially, if you mess up the beginning, it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. So the next few corners, you will use time there as well. So it's a very fast circuit, like very lot of long corners, fast corners, and it's very important to hit the apexes and to get into the rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned about the flow
really
of this track. Yeah, it's a great track, and I certainly when you hook up a lap and you really feel like you're in with the flow of the place, it's a really satisfying place to get right. And Maundy in the chat, you're absolutely correct. One of the best circuits on the calendar. Good evening to those of you in chat, Maundy, Steve, and Martin. Good to have you with us this evening. And yeah, a bit unusual tonight to have a full qualifying session. For those of you who may not be so familiar with Formula One, I'm sure most of you are, but just in case, this will be 3 separate qualifying sessions. We've got 19 drivers on the grid tonight, so in the first session, 4 drivers at the back will not take any further part in qualifying. Their positions from 16th to 19th will then be set for the race. And then in Q2, we'll have 15 drivers, and the bottom 5 will be knocked out in that session. And then Q3 is the top 10 shootout for pole position and all of the other positions in the top 10. As we're just seeing Mark coming round the final corner. Iravoice sets a fast lap, and then Mark on the mediums goes a little bit quicker with a 129.1, an early sighter for him. And we should see some more good lap times coming in shortly. Oh yeah, Monse, you're actually on track. I hadn't seen your name, noticed your name on the list, but you are there. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on you, mate. See how you get on. Good to see you out on track, although you're in the pits at the moment. We're just seeing G-Star in the second sector, setting a lap time on the mediums as well, as we saw Mark do before. Baby Hornet as well has set a lap time on the mediums. Saviour goes to the top of the timing charts with a 128.677. And G-Star now coming onto the back straight. Stefan, are you still there?
I'm still there. I'm just checking which tires the drivers are using, and many people are using the medium tire in Q1. So, of course, our fellow colleagues from Tier 1 like Xavier and G-Star, for example, just set a lap time on the mediums. They are gonna try and qualify on the mediums in order to save the fresh softs for Q2 and Q3 probably. So that's a bit of a risk, but let's see if it works.
Yeah, a bit different from what we're used to seeing with the short qualifying sessions when you can just use up all your set of tyres in a 18-minute session. Drivers having to be a little bit more strategic here with their tyre usage, because obviously you want to save as many soft compounds as possible for that final session, Q3. And of course you have to be quick enough and confident enough on the medium tyres that you will set a fast enough lap time in order to do that. So that will be interesting to see as this session unfolds.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit risky, of course, but we only have 4 drivers missing out, so I think there are some drivers out there who are definitely capable of qualifying on the medium tire.
Yeah, as we're seeing already with some of the times that are being set. Just trying to see if anyone is on a fast lap at the moment. We've got Kid Dynamite, a fellow elite tier driver, one of the best in the business, just coming round on his out lap with a set of soft tyres. So he's opted to go straight for the faster compound. And he's got someone behind him as well there, just coasting round. But will we see Kid now drop the hammer? Or is he coming back into the pits? He is. So slightly slow going at the minute. We've got Ziad coming up to the final chicane on a fast lap. He's on the soft tyres. And coming up to the line now. This should be a pretty good effort, and it puts him on pole position for the time being. A 128.4. Dry race. Cheers, Martin. That's good information to know. So no rain to feature for
Very
the Japanese Grand
unrealistic,
Prix.
I have to say.
Yeah, you expect usually to see a bit of rain around here. I don't know if it's has there been any rain in their practice sessions in real F1?
Yeah, I think at least one of the sessions has been wet. I didn't watch, but I think that's what I heard. So, and it is expected to be a wet weekend, which we're kind of used to. I mean, I think in Japan we've had more rain in the past years than, I don't know, at the British Grand Prix. So, actually, I think this is the track with the highest chance of rain, at least in real life. I don't know how it's on the game, but not for tonight, not here. So
Yes.
everything's gonna be dry.
Yeah, it's interesting with Britain because everyone always talks about it being very wet, and I think we do have a lot of wet days, but I don't think we actually have a huge amount of rain. It's just usually like drizzle. Whereas I feel like places like Japan, when it rains, it really does come down in buckets, and you'll get very difficult conditions to drive in. So I'm sure the drivers will be relieved that it's going to stay dry for the time being. Monster setting a lap time 1 minute 30.1 for him, and still 9 drivers yet to set a time, but some of those guys towards the back are out on track at the moment, either on outlaps or in the case of Thomas Hornet, well, he's in the gravel, so he won't be setting a time. But yep, Airways and Kid Dynamite on outlaps at the moment. Stefan, what do you think in terms of car setup for this track? What do you prefer around here? Do you prefer more downforce, more straight line speed? What do you prefer?
It's a fast track with lots of lots of full throttle on a lap, but actually you need a lot of downforce. Otherwise, you're just not going to be competitive in the first and second sector, especially. So it's actually a high downforce track, not as high as, of course, tracks like Hungary, for example, but definitely one of those tracks where you don't want to have too low wings, which makes overtaking a little bit more difficult, of course. I mean, you have only one DRS zone, even though there's so much full speed going on. So the only real chance to overtake is turn 1. Maybe in the chicane you can overtake, but it's a really tight section at the end of the lap, and some people also like to stick it down the inside in the hairpin. So that's what you want to consider when you're building the setup. But yeah, so I prefer high downforce. I need the confidence in the corners that I can go on the throttle early, and the confidence is key around here. So that's what I prefer.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you on that as well. We've had a couple of retirements from quali while we've been talking. Voice, I think he may have retired in the pits, and then Airways, who was on a lap, he crashed after the Degner curbs at the start of the middle sector, so he is going to be out of qualifying and at the back of the grid, unfortunately for him. But yeah, there's only the one DRS straight on this track as well, compared to a few tracks that we see in F1 nowadays where they can have 3 DRS straights. And as you said, that is on the pit straight towards turn 1. I remember we had a tier 1 race here a few seasons ago now, and I remember being stuck behind 1 or 2 drivers for a lot of that race, because it was quite difficult to overtake, as you mentioned. You needed quite a big speed advantage through there, but I think, like you, I preferred a higher downforce setup to be comfortable for the rest of the lap. And then you just if you're stuck behind someone, it's hard to overtake. So it'll be interesting to see what the guys have gone with when we get to the race.
Yeah, and again, on this track you have a long DRS train forming up in the first few laps, and it's very hard to get out of there or to make moves within this train, and therefore the qualifying is actually quite important around here, because as I say, coming back up front, like if you're at the back of the sprint and you want to get to the front, it's not gonna be easy.
No, definitely. Still seeing a few drivers on laps that come into the pits. We're running out of time a little bit. There's still 4 drivers at the back who haven't set a lap time as of yet. Kid Dynamite, CBG, BITW, and Ant.
CBG is pitting, or is he leaving the pits? I don't know. Oh, he's in the pit lane. So yeah, he needs to get out now if he wants to set a lap. Yeah, Ant just started his lap, so he's trying to qualify in one single run. But then, of course, he needs to nail the lap now. There's no invalidation or something else allowed to happen.
Yeah, well, we'll see how he gets on. We're following his progress around as he comes towards the end of Sector 1. 31.8 through the Degner curbs. Keeps it nice and tidy through there, and now up to the hairpin. It's all looking fairly tidy from Ant at the moment. Yet another elite tier driver, so you'd imagine that he is going to be pretty quick through Spoon Curve. And CBG on an out lap, and I think he should be able to get round. So we should see everyone left setting a time before this session ends. And now coming up to the chicane, the final chicane. Again, look nice and tidy through there and round the final corner. It's going to be in the 28s, I think. Yeah, P3 for Ant. Nice lap.
Yeah, that will get him through, definitely. So we have Smith coming around. He needs to improve. He's in P16. He's up by, I think it was 6/10. I'm not sure. So let's see if it's gonna be enough. It's gonna be. It's not enough. It's a 30.9. He stays in P16 for now. Now we have Kid coming around on the medium tire. Yeah, it's P2. So.
And CBG needs to get a move on.
Yeah, but now will he make it over the line?
Oh, I don't think he did. He missed it.
It was literally a few tenths.
Oh, what a shame.
Like half a second earlier, and he could have completed this lap. Yeah, that's I don't know if something went wrong there with the strategy.
Yeah, the only man now who can. The only man who.
And spinning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was improving, but now it's over for him. So we have our results. Smith, CBG, and Airways are the 4 drivers who are not qualifying for Q2.
Yep, Smith might have been able to do something if he held it together through that lap, but unfortunately the exit of Spoon Curb caught him out. I think he might have been a bit too much on the inside curb on the exit, perhaps. But yeah.
That's probably what happened. It happens often in this corner.
I think someone else just set a time in the top 10. I'm not sure who it was actually, but I saw a couple of drivers moving down, but won't have made any difference really because they would have already been assured of their place in Q2, whoever it was. But we should soon be finishing this session and we'll be moving on to Q2. Like we said, 15 drivers, 15-minute session, I believe. And then the top 10 will go through to the third part of qualifying. So yeah, full quali, not something that we usually see in MRC. It's usually just the one session. As there we go, session's now over, and we can see Ziad, Kid, Saviour, Ant, Laupi, Baby Hornet, Single Track, Mark, Stoob, G-Star, Iravoice, Lerapel, Dumbest Hornet, Monster, and Ghost Rider have all gone through. And yep, BIT, Smith, CBG, and Airways are out of the next qualifying session. They'll be starting from 16th down to 19th for the start of the race, and they'll be able to sit back and relax for a little while and just watch the other guys battle it out from here on in. So yeah, we're ready now for the second qualifying session, 15 minutes. We should see the first drivers getting out on track shortly. There were 5 drivers in that session, I think, who went for setting their fastest time on the mediums. Kid Dynamite and Saviour were 2. I think Les Rappel was another. And a couple of other drivers. So they'll be in a good position with choosing tyres for this session. As we can just see now, a couple of drivers heading out onto the track. We've got G-Star just leaving the pits, Aerovoice, and then it was Thomas Hornet, I think, as well. So Stefan, we'll be here on Monday for Elite Tier. How are you feeling about that race? Are you confident?
Yeah, quite confident, but I know that it's gonna be very tight again in the fight for the points, and gonna be. I hope I will get some time to practice, but it's gonna be important to nail the qualifying views, as I said. Moving up here is difficult, but I'm actually very much looking forward to this track. I really see ourselves, battling with G-Star, Xavier, and all the other guys from Tier 1 racing tonight in one single DRS train. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So actually on Sunday I have a league race here in Japan as well. So that's gonna be an ideal practice for me.
Yeah.
For the big race on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. With the perfect prep on heavy fuel as well for 100%.
Exactly, yes. You can remember some things, how it looks like with the fuel consumption and other things that you are not practicing in time trial. Is actually a very high fuel consumption around this track, so if there's no safety car, you really need to take a lot of fuel with you, because otherwise you're just gonna run out of it easily. So
yeah, that's an interesting point.
Yeah, I found out the hard way
Yeah.
some months ago in a race around here.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see in the race tonight what the likelihood of safety cars is as well. I don't think this is a track necessarily where you'd expect a lot of safety cars, because there's a lot of runoff. Not too many places where the barriers are particularly close, unlikely to cause a severe crash, but you never know.
Well, I've had both on this track. Sometimes there are races without any safety car, like that particular race where I had to save a lot of fuel in the last 10 laps, basically, because there was no safety car coming. And in other cases, yeah, well, there have been instances where there were 3 safety cars by lap 9. So there are some places where you can lose it. For example, out of the spoon turn, where Smith lost it. That's a classic example. But what also happens often here is that there is a big crash at the start. Not necessarily in the first 2 corners, but in the S section, especially at the end of it, in the uphill left-hander,
Yeah.
if someone loses his car there, then gonna be a red flag, basically. As single track is showing how it works.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks for visualizing my thoughts. But if this happens in lap 1, there no one can avoid the car, and you're gonna have multiple DNFs most of the time. So I hope this won't happen at the start. But yeah, you never know what happens here.
That was really good timing with single track because I literally just switched to him as he was spinning round, and you obviously could see him as well. So that worked out quite well for us anyway. Not so good for single track, but
yeah, it's a kind of a scary ability that I seem to have, that I can do some voodoo with the drivers and curse them. Like, you need to say, wouldn't it be horrible if if Xavier spun now and then he spins? So that happened multiple times in the Dutch Grand Prix. I think it was Sports here, I'm not sure. Some weeks ago I commented on this one, and it was really scary. So I'm really sorry. I don't do this on purpose. I can't control it, but yeah.
Next time I crash in a race, I know who to blame.
In Tier 1 it doesn't work, unfortunately.
Okay.
When I'm driving, I wish. That would be wonderful.
No. Yeah, on Monday, if you're in that DRS train you were talking about, and you're stuck behind someone, and you just think, oh, I wish they would get out of the way, and then So Kid Dynamite going quickest again on the medium compound of tyre. Kid Dynamite, of course, is one of the quickest drivers in MRC, and we've raced against him on a number of occasions, LRL, where we know all about his ability. And then Xavier, he switched to the softs and gone about a second clear. These two looking very quick so far in this qualifying.
Not surprised though, but 27.6 is definitely a very fast lap, so quite a benchmark.
Yeah, no surprise to see them up there. Both former MRC champions. And Ziad just had a bit of an excursion into the grass in Sector 1. G-Star is on a lap as well. And coming towards the first sector marker now, 31.7. And then through the Degner curbs. Got a bit of traffic up ahead, but that driver there staying out of the way. I'm going to be honest, guys who are watching, I'm really not going to be able to know from the liveries which driver is who. So if I'm not on board with them, it's going to be hard to say which driver it is if I can't find them in the leaderboard on the left. So you'll just have to bear with me a little bit on that. But we'll do our best. G-Star still looking good. Coming up to the second sector marker, and he's gone purple through there, although purple sectors in this game can be a little bit glitchy, so we'll just have to wait and see what time he sets as he comes up to the line. It should be a pretty good one, not quite a 27, but it's good enough for second place at the moment, about 6/10 behind Xavier. Yeah, Fabian, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good lap time that Xavier has set there. But with the way the tracks rubber in, we could see lap times even quicker in Q3. And obviously Kid Dynamite as well will probably be switching to the soft tyres at that point. So it could be very interesting to see who can put it on pole position when all is said and done.
got another 27 by Lirapel, just under the 28 mark, but he goes into P2 now.
Can we see a time in the 26s, or is that a bit too much, do you think?
I'm not sure what Kit has still to offer. He has not used the soft tires yet, but I'm not sure. Maybe if the last run in Q3 with perfect track conditions,
Yeah.
maybe Xavier. I don't know if he can improve another 6 tenths. Yeah, well, if Ujoni was here, probably. We would already see a 26 probably, but he's
That would have
not
been his
racing.
banker time.
Yeah, in Q1, yes. On the mediums. But,
Yeah.
it's a good question. I can't tell. It's going to be exciting to find out.
I remember it, Jeddah earlier in the season in quali there. I think Ujoni's banker was, I can't remember the exact time, but it was maybe a second quicker than anyone else for the rest of the session. He was just insanely fast. Well, he is everywhere, but you know, every time it happens, I'm still amazed how fast that kid is.
Yeah, he's only getting faster. That's the thing.
Yeah. Single track's going to give it another go. We jinxed him last time, but hopefully he can set a lap on this occasion. Keeps it together at the corner where he lost it last time, which I think is turn 7. And all good through the Degners. As a driver there on a slow lap gets out of the way. And single track continues down towards Spoon Curb. Spoon Curb is my personal favourite corner on this track. I just love how you can kind of throw the car in there on the first apex. I just find that really satisfying. Although the first sector S's as well is a pretty cool combination as well. It's just a really good track, isn't it? There's lots of great corners.
Yes, basically every corner is both challenging and enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I always like to race here.
Yeah. And single track just under 1 minute 29 seconds by 1,000th of a second, and that's good enough for P5 at the moment. And once again, before you know it, we've only got 2 minutes left in this session, or just over 2 minutes, and we've got Ziad, Dummies Hornet, and Ant at the back. Well, Baby Hornet has just set a time. Ziad and Dummies Hornet are on laps now, trying to improve their position and maybe qualify for Q3. Ziad is going to put himself up into P4, so that was a very good lap from him. And Dummies Hornet in the first sector on his way round, and Baby Hornet on a lap as well. Stube and Monster are on out laps, and I think they should have enough time to get round. And there's quite a few drivers out on track, so we should see quite a bit of action in this last minute and a half or so. Ant has actually set his time 1:28.3. That's good enough for 5th place. So he's pulled himself.
I missed that one. Yeah, I think he will be safe.
Yeah, I think a time in the 28s should be good enough. Thomas Hornet now coming round, and he's into P8 with that 29.0.
Let's see if that's enough.
Who have we got? Who's close to finishing a
Baby
lap?
Hornet finishing his lap now. Gonna improve. It's just outside the top 10. P11 for him, unfortunately.
Aero Voice just starting a lap. Monster is going round slowly, and he's done. He's not going to be able to get round, so he'll be out.
Ghost Rider may be able to.
Yeah, he's managed it.
At the very last second, though. He did what CBG couldn't do.
Yeah.
So now in return, he's gonna have the perfect track conditions now.
Oh, and he's lost it though in the S section, and he's retired because he crashed into the wall. So he's out. Stube.
And I jinxed it. I'm sorry.
No, again. Stube is currently in 14th, but he is almost a second up on his delta. And coming up to the final corner. Well, that was the chicane actually. This is the final corner, and it looks pretty good for Stube as he crosses the line and goes 7th.
Easily. Now Mark's at risk. Well, he's improving.
Aero Voice now.
Voice is coming.
P7.
P7.
And Mark is the only one left who can change anything.
Same more Dumbus Hornet. I think Mark's gonna make it. Yes. P6.
Comfortably through. And yeah, it was everyone in the 28s made it through. That's no one else is in a position to set a lap time.
Yeah, exactly the 28 mark was what was required for P10. So yeah, it was a good prediction from you there.
A rare good prediction, I must say. I don't usually get those right.
Yeah, but kids made it through on the mediums again, so I'm really curious what kind of lap he's gonna put into the asphalt now that he's got the soft tires available, and he's gonna use them, of course, now. So he's gonna get them on, and maybe he will be the one with the 126 or Xavier or Liverpool. G-Star and Ziad and Anthony should also be able to fight for pole and maybe for 126, but I'm still not sure about it. Do you think we're going to see it?
I would never write it off because we both know how quick these guys are. I think it will take a great lap, but yeah, Kid, Xavier, G-Star, those guys are well capable of putting it all together and producing the goods, and especially with the track rubbering up. It should be very exciting to see what happens in the next 12 minutes. So Q3, the final top 10 shootout for pole position, and then the 50% race to follow after that. And I think in terms of the quickest drivers, I think pretty much everyone is here who we would have expected to see. All the big players.
Yeah, so we didn't have a shock, not a qualifier.
I think the only one who I would have expected to maybe be involved would be Airways. I've seen him race a few times, and he's pretty quick, but it went wrong for him in Q1. But that gives him the opportunity to fight back in the race. And 8 out of the 10 drivers are out on track already, chomping at the bit to set a lap time. And who is at the front of this queue? I think it's Mark, who will be the first driver across the line. So we can see. And maybe, LRL, when Mark starts his lap, do you want to jump on board with him and just talk us through a lap? We've talked a lot about this track, but we can...
Yeah, maybe we'll get some onboard footage, yes. So, where's Mark? There it is. Yes, let's do this. So might as well start here. That's already important to get a nice exit out of the final corner when you want to start your lap. So Mark did that well. He took a lot of speed down the straight, and now the first corner very easy to do. As not so much steering, as not so much steering, yes. And then we have the S sections. Hit every apex, get into the flow. Yeah. Now this right-hander finds a point where you can go full throttle. Very nicely done by Mark. Now very fast right-hander. Yeah, little downshift. Now here you always have some understeering, but that is now a hard braking point. Easy to lock up. Get on the throttle as quickly as possible. Yeah. Now this right-hander is of course easy flat out. Before you have one of the most difficult corners on track, the spoon curve. Yeah, very tight to the curb. Again, very tight to the curb, but don't touch it too much. Take the outside curve as well. Now we are on the back straight. Approaching the 130R, how it's called. Nowadays easy flat out, and now breaking the final chicane. Yeah, take the inside curve, take the other curve, and then straighten the car out and go on the throttle. There's a little bump there. It's a bit, or there used to be a bump, so it's a bit. You can spin there and ruin all your work on your lap, but Mark didn't, and he's at a 28.5, which Kit is now beaten by over a second. So 27.4. That's not quite the 26 mark, even though it's very fast, of course.
Yeah, a couple of tenths quicker than Xavier, I think, from the previous session.
Yeah, I think he had a 27.6, so yes.
Not bad, not bad at all.
I'm not sure if Kit can find another half a tenth, but I think it's going to be hard to see a 126. But who knows? If there's someone who can do it, it's Kit.
Yeah, definitely. And Xavier maybe a little bit disappointed with his time. 6 tenths off the time he achieved in Q2. But he should have time to put on another set of the soft tyres and go again. Maybe that was just a banker for him, a bit of a sighter in this final qualifying session. And then he can set a green delta while he's going around on his final lap. Good evening, Mandy. Good to have you with us. We're just in Q3 of MRC-X for the Japanese Grand Prix in season 13 of MRC. The next MRC action, by the way, will be on Monday night, starting at 7 p.m. when we have the expert tier drivers taking on this track, and then at 8:45, LRL and myself and a few of the guys on track at the moment will be taking part in the elite tier race, and then on Wednesday, comp tier at 7 o'clock and sport tier at 8:45. And then Friday it will be MRC-X again, although I'm not quite sure what track without looking. Single track is at 130R now for his first run. of Q3, and 28.9 would be enough for P7 as it stands. And the single track comes up to the line. He is 0.3 off that in 8th at the moment, 129.2. And everyone else is back in the pits at the moment, just gearing themselves up for the final push, the final lap of this qualifying session to decide who will take pole. And Kid obviously is in the pound seat at the moment, but we'll just have to wait and see. Le Rappel, Ziad, Xavier, Mark are all up there. G-Star, we've mentioned, hasn't set a lap time yet. He's going for just the one lap in this session. So all to play for as we enter the final 5 minutes. It started to cloud over a little bit in this session.
Oh yes, you're right. I didn't see that. I mean, that could maybe reduce the track temperatures a bit and maybe play a little role in terms of track conditions. But it's sunny, so it shouldn't be a big effect. But now single track, now he's not a fast lap at the moment, but it's still very smart for him to go out. So guys, when you do this, you get more stream time. Although he's sitting now, just not only will you not have much traffic, you will also get lots of air time on stream. But of course, usually you don't have this when we have our short qualifying, the normal tiers.
So Kid Dynamite is in chat saying that a 26 is easily doable, and well
then go ahead, mate.
Yeah, let's see it.
Now he needs to deliver.
Although he did follow that up by saying that, of course, now I will 100% bottle it. Kid, we believe in you. Go out there and show us. G-Star now is the first man out for this final run. And we've only got 2 minutes and 45 left. I wouldn't want to be leaving it too late, because with 9 drivers still to head out on track now, excuse me, you don't want to be in too much traffic as we get towards the end of the session, because you could end up with a situation where you're trying to get to the line to start a lap, but there are drivers ahead of you driving slowly doing the same thing, and it can get a bit messy, but it should be okay. I think the drivers out there are reasonably well spaced at the moment, and I think they are all now heading out onto the track. So it's going to be all action here. 2 minutes left in Q3. Time for some fireworks.
Yeah, it's the calm before the storm now.
G-Star now starting to warm up his tyres on the run down to the final chicane, which I know it used to be called the Casio Triangle, but I don't know if they call it that anymore. But anyway, he is over the line and starting his one and only qualifying lap of Q3. I'll stick with him for the time being and see how he gets on. I think we've got Era Voice and Mark also coming up to start their laps very shortly, and then the rest of the field coming up behind them. They should all get across the line quite comfortably. 31.7 first sector for G-Star. Through the chicane, maybe a little bit of a wobble I think I saw there coming out of the hairpin. Struggling a bit with traction. And now spoon curb. Looked pretty nice through there. And almost up to the second sector marker. 1 minute 11.5 through there. Purple sectors again showing up on the track map, but again I don't know how much you can trust those, particularly in this game. But G-Star now through the final chicane.
Kids invalidated.
Oh, no 26. What a shame.
He
G-Star
was
up to fourth.
By 1.5 tenths already in the first sector, so it would have been possible indeed, but he just went to right and the past right-handed king there.
Very unfortunate. Era Voice, let's see what he can do. He's 3/10 up through the second sector marker and up to the start-finish line and improves very marginally and actually stays down in 8th place. What about Mark? He moves up to 5th, ahead of Saviour for the time being. And now we've got Stoob coming up to the line. He sets a time that puts himself in 8th place, and Saviour goes second, a 10th behind Kid.
Well, Kid actually did a 1:26.993, so technically he did a 1:26, but it's invalid.
Oh, Les Rappel sets a 27.4 and beats Kid to pole.
That's the way to pull from in the very last second, yeah. Was not expecting someone to beat this lap, but yeah.
No, so the invalidation from Kid has cost him in the end 0.02 of a second. He loses out to Les Rappel.
I mean, when you see he was able to do a 1:26, he didn't lie. But
yeah.
Although you have to say it was just under the 1:27, and I'm not sure if he hadn't invalidated, it would have still been a 1:26. But that's of course very unfortunate for him because even if he could have been much more cautious at that corner and still be on pole easily. But that's how fast it goes. So now it's P2.
Yeah, and very close between the top four, Saviour and Ant on the second row. Less than 0.2 of a second between the front four. And then a bit of a drop back to the rest of the grid. Let's just have a look. Yep, so it was Les Rappel from Kid, Saviour, Ant, Ziad in 5th, G-Star, Mark, Stoob, Single Track, and Era Voice rounding out the top 10 in that session. And now we get to the real fun, the race, the 50% race, which I believe around here is 26 laps, or is it 27?
I think it's 27.
27
yes,
laps.
27.
And as you can see, lovely clear blue skies overhead in Suzuka, so perfect track conditions for the drivers. No threat of rain in this race, and that means we'll have DRS and hopefully some overtaking and hopefully some interesting strategies as well. We'll have to see what the starting tyres everyone's gone for when we get to the formation lap.
Yeah, but for now we have a short break. I will just catch something to eat and to drink, and then I'll be back with you.
Yeah, no worries. So we'll talk a little bit about this track while while we're waiting. Suzuka, of course, one of the most famous tracks in Formula One. A strong favourite with a lot of the drivers. And has witnessed some really excellent championship battles over the years. Most recently, of course, in 2022, it wasn't such a closely fought championship in the end, but it was the race where Max Verstappen became a two-time world champion. Before that, it was more of a track really in the 80s, or the late 80s and into the 90s and the 2000s, when a lot of championships were decided around here. Famously, of course, 88 and 89 and 90, actually, in fact, when the Senna and Prost rivalry was at its absolute peak. Senna winning 2 of those championships and Prost winning the other one. And of course, some very controversial collisions between those 2 drivers, really stoking the fire of that rivalry at the time. Into the 90s, I think the next championship decider here would have been... Actually, it was in 91. Senna winning again, because Nigel Mansell was the only man that could catch him at that point, and he crashed out of the race. Then going further ahead, I believe 96 then was the next championship decider at Suzuka. That was Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve in the Williams Renault back in the day. Yeah, Monster, Damon Hill, one of my earliest memories. Yeah, I wasn't quite into F1 at that point, so I didn't actually watch that one live, but I've seen footage of that race on YouTube since then, obviously, and it's a great moment, a great race, and a great bit of commentary from Murray Walker as well, for those of you that can remember that. Then I think championships were decided here in 98 and 99 and 2000. 98 and 99 were in favour of Mika Hakkinen, and then in 2000 it was Michael Schumacher. His 3rd world championship, his first for Ferrari. And then 3 years later, in 2003 as well, he won the championship at the final race in Suzuka once again. That was his 6th world title. He won that from Kimi Räikkönen in the end. And then it was, 2006, the championship wasn't actually decided here, but it was in effect decided here, because Schumacher had an engine blow up when him and Fernando Alonso were level on points, and that allowed Alonso to win the race and have a 10-point gap going into the season finale in Brazil. So pretty much decided the championship. And I think since then, I think that might be the last time. Oh god, the 05 race, of course, how could I forget that? It wasn't a championship decider, but goodness me, what a race that was. Kimi starting P17 and overtaking Giancarlo Fisichella on the final lap to win that race from the Renault. Some incredible overtakes in that race from Kimi and Alonso as well. Yeah, absolutely incredible race. Probably the best Grand Prix that's ever been held here. Maybe the greatest of all time, certainly one of the greatest of all time. Personally, I would maybe put Canada 2011 in front of that one, just for the absolute craziness of that race, but I don't know that a race in the dry could ever be as dramatic as that 2005 Japanese Grand Prix was. Hey Ant, how you doing? Good to have you with us as the formation lap has started. And we've got a whole host of medium tyre runners out there. It's only Ant, Era Voice, Ghost Rider, Smith, and CBG starting on the softs. No one starting on the hards. So Ant might have a lot of pace in the first few laps. He might be trying to get himself to the front at first. Hi F1 fan. Single track has been disqualified from the formation lap. Not sure what he did, but he'll have to park himself up on the grid now and wait for everyone else to come round with, and he'll have cold tyres, unfortunately.
So I'm back in case you missed me.
Yeah, just in time. Formation lap.
Yeah, thankfully.
What would be your preferred strategy around here, Stefan?
Just checking. Okay, most drivers on the meets, no one on the hard tires. I think I would start on the soft tire. Maybe make up some places at the start and then settle in to the train. At least in previous games, the hard tire was for me a very good tire to race on most of the time, but I think on this game the medium is just as good, if not better, so I think soft medium would be my strategy.
Yeah, the AWS graphic just came up on my screen, and it was suggesting, yeah, soft medium or soft hard were both fine. So I think for most of the guys on the mediums, they'll probably be looking for a long medium stint and then a short soft stint at the end, which could be very exciting. But of course, we could have safety cars as well. We'll have to wait and see, as the drivers now are forming up for the start of the Japanese Grand Prix. Les Rappel on pole from Kid Dynamite. And the lights are coming on now, and we'll see who can make their way to the first corner at the front. Lights go out, and it looks like a fairly even start. Kid might be able to have a look on the inside of Les Rappel into turn one. He does. They're side by side. I think Les Rappel is going to hold it around the outside. He manages to do that, so I think it's all...
There's a crash at the back.
Oh, single track. Off and round.
Still going, thankfully.
He's able to carry on, so thankfully no safety cars or anything like that for the time being. But yeah, Kid had a real good look there on the inside in the first couple of corners, but Les Rappel did a really good job to hold it around the outside as he leads the grid through the hairpin. And it's looked like a fairly clean start from the majority of the field, apart from what happened to single track.
Yeah, everyone got through the first sector unharmed. No one spun on top of the hill, thankfully. It's just single track who will have to box for a new front wing.
Ziad is right up behind Ant, coming to the end of the first lap. Not close enough at the moment to make a move. DRS won't be enabled until the start of lap 3. But he is going to have a go. But I think Ant was using his ERS to defend that.
Yeah, he thought better of it.
Yeah, you don't want to go for a send on the very first lap and risk a crash. Plenty of time to make up positions.
Yeah, and the first corner it's still very risky. So if all DVG this round.
Oh yeah, in the S section.
Don't know if there was contact, but the car is looking fine from what I can see.
Single Track has pitted and gone for the hard tyres, so he'll be trying to go as long as possible from here.
Now the gaps between the drivers are all over the place again. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
they do not make much sense at the moment, but I think usually this should sort itself out.
Yeah, the top 5 are all pretty close together. Certainly all within a second of each other. They will be able to have DRS if they can keep those
from
gaps.
Xavier. And this gives an opportunity to Ziad, who are now side by side with Anton already.
Yep, absolutely
now
wheel
he's
to
gonna
wheel.
Go for it. Oh, that's some very nice defending there from Anthony.
Yeah, he had the inside line, and that was enough to keep hold of the position. Right at the back, we've got Airways up behind Smith, F1. He's made up a little bit of ground so far, I think. Maybe just the one position. But, well, 2 positions, because he started at the back, and obviously there's been 2 guys behind him that have gone off. But Les Rappel under a lot of pressure at the moment from Kid Dynamite.
Loppy and Dumbus Hornet.
And Hornet now under pressure from Hornet Jr. and losing that position.
Oh. Not sure. Are they brothers or I'm not sure. I just know that they are related. But...
I think they are brothers, but I'm not 100% sure. If anyone knows in the chat, feel free to correct me.
Let's do it. Then no, he backed out of it. Yeah. Yeah, I would say. But if anything happens, they can sort this out at dinner. So.
We've got Kid going around the outside of Les Rappel for the lead.
Oh.
And it's very tight, but I think Kid Dynamite... Les Rappel tries to hold it and went onto the grass. And he's going to lose out now.
And passing him as well. Now Ziad coming too. Wow, he goes around the outside and... Oh, there's... What? There was almost a big crash between Les Rappel and Ziad, yeah. Just lost 4 places. But that's very unfortunate, but it's just, you know... Fighting in the first sector, going side by side, is very difficult.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to hold it a bit too much around the outside once Kid had pretty much got the move done. And yeah, he went onto the grass and it only cost him from there. Mandy confirming for us in the chat that the Hornets are indeed brothers. So sibling rivalry there in P11 and P12. BIT has gone past Ghost Rider, I believe. Ghost Rider having a look back though into the chicane, but thinks better of a move through there. And Stube has gone off and loses a few places. Drops right back down to P15 with that.
That's unfortunate for him. He had a very decent qualifying. Now he's... Oh, Baby Hornet in the wall.
So that's the end of the sibling rivalry for the time being, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he's got damage as well. Yeah, he has.
So that'll probably be a front wing change. Do you think, how long do you think the hards could go from here? Do you think, because single track is on 3-lap-old hards now, if Hornet has to come in, will he be able to get to the end on the hard tyres?
From now on, Maybe yes, yeah, probably, but I mean, this track is really hard for the tires, for all kinds of tires, so they're gonna be very worn at the end. I mean, it's the hard tire; they can go for very long. Still, I'm not quite sure if they are gonna be great, so I would still rather hope for a safety car. Oh, what did Kit do? Kit's lost a lot of time. I saw him in the. I thought I saw him driving in the grass, so he must have made a mistake out of turn 2. Xavier is back in the DRS now.
Yeah, I think Kid has been. His lead was out over a second. I think Xavier has actually been closing the gap slightly as well, but yeah, maybe Kid made a mistake. I didn't see it, but just that gap hovering just around 1 second, just tipping over it out of the hairpin. But it's pretty close up there. The top 7, everyone is around about a second apart from each other. And then we've got Era Voice a few seconds back from that. But it's good to see so many guys up near the front lapping pretty close together on pace. And we've got the dreaded DRS train that you mentioned before, LOL.
Yeah, hopefully the two of us are gonna be a part of it as well. That's where I see that Mark spins.
Oh
That
no.
was the end of the train. No, now the train has become a little bit shorter, and yeah, he might want to pit. I don't know if he wanted to pit, but he was basically forced to pit now because he spun into the pit entry.
Yeah. Onto the hards. And no wing damage, so it was a fast enough pit stop. Era Voice as well onto the hard tyres. But yeah,
I
that was a
don't think
shame.
this was intentional. So I mean, since you can't reverse in the pit entry, basically, although the game will disqualify you very quickly, I believe. So, I don't think this was the plan. Gonna need to ask Mark later on, but surely this was not ideal.
No, just got to roll with it now and hope for the best. Mark saying Baby Hornet used to be SGPR or something when he joined. Then he got outed as dumbest younger brother, so he changed his name.
Good to know. So Xavier is fighting to stay in the DRS. He will get DRS for another lap. Well, you can already see that Kid has the pace to break the DRS and drive away from the pack. Even though for now they are still staying close to him.
Well, he's not lapping quite as fast as he was earlier. He set a fastest lap of a 131.1, I think, earlier in the race, and he's about a second off of that sort of pace at the moment. That could just be the tyre wear, of course, but we've still got the front 5 all within DRS of each other, and then G-Star in 6th place, only a couple of seconds back, so he can see the drivers in front of him. He's not too far away from this battle either. And Lay Rappel has just got past Ziad. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
It looked...
I think Ziad ran off the track, but it was a weird spot to get past. Not sure what happened there. I couldn't see it, unfortunately.
I sort of saw in the background Ziad's car running wide before Spoon, and that's it's a flat-out section, so there's no reason why you would you'd go off track there. Don't know if there's a bit of a tactical move, perhaps, between those two.
Maybe. I mean, they have lost contact to the top three, so you might as well not want you don't want to fight too much then, because it's not gonna help your race if you're just losing. If you're aiming for a podium and you're just losing time to the top three.
Well, this is certainly the most interesting battle on track at the moment, with the front three running close together. Mark has caught up to Iravoice in the battle for, well, it's 15th at the moment, but they've pitted early, so in terms of actual net position, not quite sure at the moment, but Mark will be biding his time, I think, before DRS at the end of the lap to maybe make a move.
And Xavier can still keep the DRS, so that little mistake from Kit appears to have been very costly, because otherwise I'm pretty sure he would be 3 or 4 seconds ahead right now, but now Alex is actually very close right now, even though it's not going to be enough for a move, but oh, little snap from Kit, but can't make a move around there. So yeah, actually Kit is struggling more than I thought, so I thought giving his pace and quality that he would have an easier job up front there.
Yeah, and I think certainly when his lead was up over a second, it was looking good for him. Like, he could just control the pace, but that mistake seems to have just opened the door for Xavier to hang on in the DRS and start to challenge.
That's all. CDG, little spin again, I think. Yeah, but he keeps going. Yeah, and you have to keep in mind that Xavier and Anthony are two drivers with a very strong race pace, so it's a lot harder to beat them in the race than in quali for kids, I believe, because this is where they are very constant and very strong, and you can also see, and the only guy there with the soft tires, and he's running them easily. Like, he's the tire whisperer of the league. He can stretch the soft tires on any track too. Yeah, some people are not using the mediums for as long as he can use the soft tire.
Yeah.
And he can just sit back and watch, and of course he's gonna probably Kit and Xavier are gonna switch on to the soft at the end, and he's gonna be on the mediums then, but of course he also can undercut them, but I'm pretty sure he's taking a look at the map, and he looks, where would I come out if I were to pit now, and if he manages to pit and pit earlier and not to come out in traffic, then he would be the new race leader probably.
Yeah, exactly, and it's great to see a race where that kind of tactical battling can happen.
Exactly. Yes, and we have a. Just go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that, like we've said, how this feels like a bit more of an old school F1 track, which of course it is, but just with the aspects of it being a bit harder hit around here to overtake. You do get a bit more of the strategy with drivers not wanting to pit and come out into traffic, because then it's going to cost them a load of time, and that's the kind of racing that I used to love about Formula One back in the day. Obviously nowadays with DRS and tire deg and things, it's not quite the same as it used to be. But anyway, I'm starting to sound like an old man here, ranting about the good old days. But
no apologies for being nostalgic. This is very much. appropriate. But yeah, you're right. Actually, we have seen the first pit stops now. Le Rappel has gone onto the hard tire. So not. He goes for the undercut. He's not waiting and stretching the mediums to go on the softs. He's choosing the hards. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and we'll find out soon now what Kid and Savior especially are going to do, because and Ant has actually got past Savior for second place. I've just realised.
Yeah, we missed that battle now, and the gap has opened a little bit.
Yeah, so maybe Savior made a mistake. But yeah, I mean, with Ant, of course, we know that, as you said, he is the tyre whisperer. He's going to have to pit onto one of the harder two compounds, either the medium or the hards. But for Kid and Savior, as Ant is in the pits right now, as is Savior. So that must mean for Savior that he's going onto the hard compound. What about Ant? What's he going to do? Set of hards for him as well.
Interesting. It's interesting that he's not choosing the mediums. I mean, surely if he can go 12 laps on the softs, he can also do 14 laps on mediums, but he's... or 15 laps on mediums, but he's going for the hards.
Yeah, I agree.
And Le Rappel has gone past Xavier, so they're of course reacting to the undercut, and it worked. So now they've got traffic with airways. So that's of course a part of the track where you don't want to have this. So look at how much faster they are. They're really catching up, especially Le Rappel, whose tires are warmed up already. And yeah, this is of course what you want to avoid.
Oh, and I think a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, there was a bit of contact. You see no end plate missing. But yeah, there happen is it's very easy to, you know, there happens often. There is a little traffic jam that they happen, or it's easy to misjudge the braking and run into the back of the driver ahead of you. And I guess this is what happened there. Kid is now reacting to these guys and is pitting as well. Let's see if Airwave has cost them so much time that Kid will stay ahead.
Here comes Le Rappel trying to get past Ant, but he's lost the back end. And that's allowed Savior through. And now what's going to happen when Kid comes out of the pits?
Yeah, look at how much time it has cost them, this battle with Airways. Kid's easily ahead, even though they were undercutting him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing with the traffic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting that that basically everyone is going for the medium hard strategy. I thought people would rather go and go on the softs at the end, especially since we haven't seen a safety car yet. And what we also need to keep in mind is what I mentioned earlier, that the fuel is gonna play a big role, because on this track, really, I think I need at least 2 laps of additional fuel. And if there's no safety car, you're gonna burn all of it. At least, if not more. So much more than you would usually take on most tracks. And yeah, I think this could get interesting towards the end of the race if there is no safety car coming.
And has just set a very quick middle sector and closed right up onto Kid, who is warming up his hard tyres. So we're back to as we were.
Big the effect is of the warmed up hard tyres against the cold hard tyres. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, it seemed to only take.
Again, he's got, front wing change, so there was actually damage.
What a shame.
Yeah. What a shame indeed.
And I think that after what you were just saying about surprisingly no one has gone medium to soft tyres, I'm looking now at who are still out there on their mediums and wondering if that's what they're going to try to do, extend this medium tyre stint and go for the softs to the end and potentially have a huge pace advantage over the drivers around them who will be on pretty old hard tyres by then, so they should have a significant pace advantage, so they could come steaming through at the end.
They should, yes, and I mean, if they are staying out for so long already, nothing else would make sense. As Dumbledore outbroke himself and almost hit Kid in the back, so. And then Xavier got past him as well, so of course Kid was hoping that Dumbledore would hold them up now so that he can break the DRS, but no, they still got it. But now it will be very interesting. Now it's just pure raw pace towards the end with these three guys. So no more pit stops, no more tactics. Now it's going to be decided on track.
And I think that Kid has gone through his warm-up phase on the hards, yes, like Ant had done the previous lap, and he's now setting down potentially a very quick lap time. He's pulled out a gap now. He's over a second in front of Ant, although Ant's closed up a little bit so far in the second sector. But this could be the potential fastest lap of the race coming up from Kid Dynamite. And that gap to G-Star as well is coming down rapidly too. It's almost under 5 seconds. It was 8 seconds, maybe a lap and a half ago. So G-Star extending his stint to go onto the soft tyres at the end, but he's going to be a long way back from the front guys.
Oh, baby Hornets in the gravel.
I think Ziad might have just pulled a move on Mark for 7th place. Dumbest Hornet into the pits, and Iravoice is in as well. Dumbest Hornet onto the softs. Not sure why Iravoice has come in. Maybe he's got some damage.
I'm wondering what happened to Ziad. He's dropped back significantly. He's 15 seconds behind Xavier, so we must have missed something there. There must have been some kind of incident, maybe a front wing change or whatever explains this huge gap, because we know that Ziad is he has the pace of the guys ahead, so yeah.
Well, I think he was behind Mark and then overtook him again. So we must have just missed something that caused him to drop back that much, and there's now a huge gap between him and Xavier, 15 seconds. So he might even be under threat from G-Star when he pits for the softs. He's extending his stint by another lap, and G-Star, Kid rather, is going to be right on him, possibly before the end of this lap even. The pace difference at the moment is huge with the wear on those mediums.
Yeah, especially here in the first sector, you can literally see how it is getting closer. Just melting down.
This probably isn't the best place to catch a driver up though, around the hairpin and up towards Spoon, unless Kid has got enough speed. I don't think he has to make a move down into Spoon Curve. So this could potentially bring Anton Anthony and Xavier back into play.
Yeah, of course. Not here, he's losing a lot of time, and
And
G-Star is actually defending it, so of course
yeah,
he doesn't want them
G-Star's
to
not
lose
the kind
again.
of guy. He's not the kind of guy to give it up easy,
Yeah,
is he?
no, no.
Oh, and then
Oh,
Anson and
Xavier and
Xavier.
Ant. Oh, Xavier backs out.
But now this is going to be, surely Kid is going to go past G-Star down into turn one, and maybe Xavier. I don't think Anthony's
Oh,
got
but
DRS.
no. G-Star is holding on to it.
Oh, wow.
It's gonna be fuming, but I mean, had he got past here, he would have run away from Xavier and Ant because they would have stood behind. But look at them, he can even make a move around
Oh,
here.
oh
G-Star's
my
really going
goodness.
for it. Wow. We got some racing going on here. What? I mean, that's a big entertainment that G-Star is giving us right now. And oh no!
Oh,
Oh,
and
he's
Kid!
drowned.
Kid's lost it. Oh no. What a disaster.
Desperately wanted to go side by side with him, and then he got onto the grass. We might need to take another look at this after the race.
That was, I was just starting to think G-Star was pulling a bit of a Checo Perez from Abu Dhabi 2021, holding
Yes.
up. He was holding up Kids so much and bringing Xavier and Anthony right back into it. But now they've got to overtake him because G-Star certainly won't be pulling any punches with them either. Oh,
No,
he
but
pits.
he's pitting.
And now does Xavier have DRS? He does. That's gonna allow him to hold on to the lead. But all of a sudden, Kid is 4 seconds back, and it's now a battle between Xavier and Anthony for the win.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That really changed the race. I mean, I'm just what G-Star is. Yeah, G-Star is around 18 seconds behind Kid now, so even in 8 laps he needs to get to make more than 2 seconds per lap to get back to these guys, and I don't think this is going to be possible, but from an entertainment point of view, that strategy worked for us up
Yes.
here.
Yeah, spiced things up beautifully for us. I mean, it's unlikely G-Star will catch up to Kid, but could you imagine if he did, and then roles reversed, Kid trying to defend from
I think
G-Star.
I think his battle's gonna be with Ziad for P4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but I still think that the race is not over for Kid. He can still catch back up to them. He definitely has the pace, and it's already. It was 3 seconds now. It's already 2.5. So let's see if he has. Maybe he can get back into the battle.
Yeah, certainly on raw pace, it looks like he's got what it takes to come back towards the front two. A little bit further back, we've got Stube coming on the inside of Monster into the first corner.
Oh,
And
there's
then
Le Rappel on the softs. Yeah,
Monster
passing
went
Monster
wide.
as well.
Oh, and then
Oh,
Monster
Dumbest
making
Hornet lost it.
contact with Dumbest Hornet.
I don't know if they made contact or if he just lost it. I was on the onboard, but yeah.
It looked like contacts from
Okay.
the view I had. Yeah, it looked like I don't know. I don't know if Monster maybe ran a little bit wide, but there was definitely contact. And Lay Rappel up behind Stube with much better tyres Although on the softs, those will start to wear rapidly as the race carries on. Oh, but Le Rappel, big slide coming out of Spoon, and that has lost him about a second or a second and a half from Stube. I don't think that was on the curve either. It was just a big old slide with the traction that cost him there.
Yeah, we have Stoop going for a move on Loppy. He backed out of it. Didn't want to risk it.
It's good to see that we've still got all 19 drivers in this race. No retirements, no safety cars either.
I was about to say that, not a single DNF. It's been some time since I can remember that in MRC. I'm not sure when the last race was when this happened, but yeah. Fair play, hats off to the drivers there. It's not an easy track, and they are most of them are keeping it out of the wall in this race. Now we have Ants maybe going for the lead. He's not making a move yet. But I think Ant and Xavier will also play this tactically a bit, because they know if Kid gets back into the DRS window, then he will also go for the lead. And as long as he's not within that 1 second, the race win is between them, will be fought between them. And of course, if they want to keep it this way, they shouldn't go side by side in turn 1. That's what they are trying to avoid, of course, and I think this is why Ant didn't send it into turn 1.
Well, the other thing is that if he can hold on and harvest some ERS for the final lap or two, and then try to use it all to make a move on Xavier himself, then that might be the best tactic. But Kid now is almost within that DRS range, so he has pulled the gap back from about 4 seconds, I think, when he had the spin behind G-Star, to now almost being within touching distance once again.
But not enough yet, so this lap he won't have DRS. And Ant's not going for a move again, no.
Further back.
Le Rappel, Stoop and Loppy going for it.
So Le Rappel has made up the time that he lost from his slide earlier. He's already got past Stube. I don't think, is he quite close enough here? Laupy's going to defend it, but Le Rappel around the outside with the overspeed.
Yeah.
Gets it done.
Quite an easy move for him. I'm taking a look at what Ziad and G-Star are doing, and the gap is down to 3.8 seconds. It was 7.5, I believe, but I'm not sure if G-Star will catch him still, because now the soft tires aren't going to be as good as they were when he left the pits. Of course, now they've got a few laps on them. But Ziad has got a time penalty, of course, so he just needs to get the gap needs to come down under 3 seconds, and then it will be P4 for G-Star. Now, and Xavier going on the straight again. Again, Kid has no DRS.
And just not quite close enough. I don't know if he is saving ERS. I would imagine that he is.
Yeah, he pretty much does. The thing is, in these sectors, when the first sector, Kid is always catching up a lot, but at the end of the second sector and in the third sector, so down the long straight after the spoon curve, he just hasn't got the slipstream to get into the DRS, and there Xavier and Ant are making sure that he's not going to get it, even though at the moment the gap is down to 8 tenths. So
Oh yeah.
as of now, he is in the window, but let's see if he can stay there.
Yeah, he's low on battery as well. I could just see
Yes.
his light flashing at the rear of the car, so maybe he had to burn some to pull that gap down, as now it grows to above a second again.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really trying to not pass Xavier. I think he wants to make the move as late as possible, but at the same time he wants to go as far as to make sure that Kid's not joining them. They're very exclusive battle up front, even though, and look how much it's costing him now. The gap is 1.5 seconds again, and he needs to close it down in the first and second sector. Which he does. Now it's 1.2 again, but then on the straight they will be faster, and it grows again. So this is the issue that he has. Well, you also just got to say that both Xavier and Ant are playing this really smart tactically. Like, they're not going side by side at crazy spots where you don't do this, or they don't attack everywhere. They are really making sure that they are fast enough that Kid's not catching up, and Anthony's making sure that he's not doing a crazy move on Xavier. But the last lap will be starting soon, and now surely we're gonna see a move from Ant, at least an attempt.
Yeah, this is going to be his last chance with the DRS. There's no more DRS zones coming up. It's now or never, and I don't know that Xavier got the best exit out of the chicane. Anthony is right there, and I think this is going to be a fairly straightforward move on the final lap of the race. Anthony takes the lead, just about gets a car length in front of Xavier down into turn one, and as long as he doesn't make any mistakes on this final lap, he should be able to take the victory from here. And Kid, once again, 1.1, 1.2 seconds just outside of DRS range. So unfortunately for him, that incident he had a few laps ago with G-Star has really cost him a chance to go for the victory, unless both Anthony and Xavier make a mistake on this final lap, which I don't want to jinx it, but I can't see it.
But let's see. I think for now Ant is safe, but the slipstream down this long straight is very strong, so maybe it's gonna get closer again.
And he's using his overtake as well. I think Anthony has got some saved up as well, because the gap is not really closing all too much.
Yeah.
Kid, I think, has thrown in the towel a little bit. He's going to settle for third place, and Xavier is not close enough, so Anthony is going to come across the line and take the checkered flag to win the Japanese Grand Prix here in MRC-X from Xavier and Kid Dynamite in P3. Ziad will cross the line in fourth, but G-Star, if he can get an incredible exit, I don't think he's going to do quite enough.
Yeah, the slide.
Yeah.
No,
Stub and Laupi
going for it then until the end.
That was through 130R, I think, that Stu pulled that off. Amazing stuff. Unfortunately, we just missed it.
Oh, no. Dude,
Oh, what's happened?
Stoop has lost it.
Oh, he's in the pits. No.
Oh, what
Oh,
the like Mark? He spun out of the final corner and then he just slid into the pit entry, and he finished the race in the pit lane unwillingly, and he even got a 5 second penalty, so that dropped him back to 12. Ah,
and Ziad
what a.
has
I think
retired
he,
after the checkered flag.
yeah, he left the session too early, so the game gave him a
Okay.
DNF.
And Smith now is going to be the final man across the line. And
But
that,
no safety car, no DNFs indeed. Very impressive, and everyone had enough fuel on board.
yeah,
I was sure that there would be at least 2 or 3 drivers who would run out of fuel. I'm not sure if there was anybody who had to save a lot of fuel at the end, but yeah, very smart that all of the guys thought about taking enough fuel with them.
Ant in the chat, that's for all the Chris Baileys out there. I believe in you, man. Great stuff, Ant. And Morn said he was on low fuel mode that whole lap, and Fabian as well, 0.01 at the finish. So they were struggling with fuel towards the end of that race, but everyone made it. And we saw a few wing changes, but no DNFs, which is great to see. So we'll just do a quick rundown of the results. Anthony, with that overtake on the final lap, takes the victory from Saviour. Kid Dynamite in third. G-Star in fourth, but Ziad did finish fourth and had his position sort of glitched by leaving the session too early. So he would be in fourth, but the game has glitched a bit. So it's G-Star fourth, Le Rappel in fifth, Lorpy in sixth, Error Voice in seventh, BITW in eighth, Thomas Hornet in ninth, Mark in 10th, Stube 11th, Ghost Rider 12th, Airways in 13th, Monster in 14th, Single Track 15th, Smit F1 in P16, and then we've got Ziad, Baby Hornet, and CBG in the last place, a lap down, I think, on the front runners. So, yeah, I think that was a really good race, actually. Yeah, great to see a tactical battle at the front and some drama with the overtaking at the end and the impact that G-Star had on the battle at the front with his strategy as well. Who would be your driver of the day, Stefan?
Very good question. I mean, usually I would say Ant because he played it very well tactically, but he won the race now, so yeah, that would be a bit. He's the winner anyway, so I would actually say Stoop, because if you disregard this very unlucky ending, he made a great comeback. You know, he had a spin, or he went off the track at some point and lost a lot of places after a very good qualifying, and still he managed to get back into the top 10 and fight for P7, I believe. So
Yeah.
it was a very good performance.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that. I think I might have to give it to G-Star just for the absolute carnage that he caused with
Yeah,
with this strategy. But
of
yeah,
course.
that's it. That's all for MRC-X here on Friday night. Thank you very much to everyone for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And that'll be it now for MRC until Monday night at 7 o'clock for the expert tier. And then at 8:45 on Monday, myself, LRL, G-Star, Kid, Saviour, Anthony, Le Rappel we should all be, as long as everyone can make it. We'll be in action for the elite tier and then on Wednesday it's comp tier and sports tier as well. But yeah, LRL, any final thoughts from you?
I think you said it all. Yeah, tune
Cool.
back in on Monday, then you will see. You can watch the two of us on track as well, and let's see how we're gonna do.
Yeah, absolutely. So until then, everyone, have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday night. Take care.